Hello, everyone. We bought a house. We bought a house. It needs a lot of work, but we bought a house, and I am so excited. So we bought a 1960s house in northern BC. It is roughly 63 years old, and it needs a lot of TLC. But that is okay, because that is what we're here for. Before we get into that, though, I do have a little bit of a story time that led to us buying this house. Now, there was a lot of stress leading up to buying our first home. The house that we were previously renting in the Lower Mainland was slated to be demolished for a new condo building. And while we had been living in that house, the rents in the Fraser Valley had almost doubled. So we had essentially been priced out of that market. And after looking for new places to live and really not being able to find anything, one, within our budget, or two, with enough room for our family, we decided, you know what, we're going to see if we can somehow, by God's grace, try and afford to buy something. So after talking to a family friend, we actually ended up finding a home in the Rocky Mountains that felt like it suited our family. So we put an offer in and it was accepted. But the lease on the house that we were renting was going to be ending before we were officially able to close on the house. And so things became a little bit stressful. What ended up happening is we moved all of our stuff out of the house that we were renting and put it into storage. And then we moved out to the Kootenays to play the waiting game to try and close on the house. So we ended up living out in the Rockies for about 4 months. First, we were living with my brother and his family for a little bit, and then we moved into a travel trailer, and we were in there, about 4 months. And ultimately, in the end, we didn't end up closing on the house, and it all fell through. So that was really hard at that point. And so we decided, you know what? We're just going to open up our search. We're going to look in northern BC. We're going to look in Alberta. We even were looking cross country at New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. And after all of that searching and going through all the scenarios, we ended up finding a house in northern BC. So we were talking to some agents just to see if there was anything even remotely close to our budget. And one of them mentioned that there was a house that was going to be posted in the next couple days. And it was fairly close to our budget. But the kicker is that it was going to need a lot of work. After viewing it and not being afraid of some hard work, we decided to put on an offer and it was accepted. And 1 month later, we successfully closed on the house. Yay! So I should probably mention that I was also 8 months pregnant and really, really, really ready to be settled. So it was quite the time crunch. Now, we knew that it was going to take a little while to clean up the house before moving in. The previous owner had a lot of pets in the house. So we planned to take a week or two to really do a deep clean. Maybe ozone the place and prime everything, hopefully just to get rid of that musky, lingering pet smell. Now, we were mostly successful, but every now and again, I do still get a whiff of something, but it is 100 times better than it was. The entire process of cleaning and everything ended up taking us longer than expected. Partly was because there were some things left behind by the previous owner that we had to deal with, but in the end, we did make it to the deadline, and we officially moved into our house 4 days before welcoming our fourth child. Since then, we have just been kind of settling into the house, enjoying our newest little one, and just getting some time to relax and try and release the stress that had been building from the past year of just looking for a home while pregnant and homeschooling and really just not knowing where we were going to end up. So now that my youngest is almost 6 months, I'm really, really getting that itch to start fixing this place up. It's mostly probably because I've been getting more sleep, but that helps. So we have a lot of really big dreams for this place. It has potential to be a really adorable, cute, cozy home. But the big reason we were able to buy a house in Canada, especially in our current market, is because this house needs a lot of work. But all in all, I am just so thankful and grateful to have a house, and I am so excited to start fixing this place up. So there are several big things on the list right now that need to be addressed once winter is over. When we first moved in, we just had the baby and it felt like it was a bit too late to get things underway. So we were like, you know what? Let's just get through the winter. And then once spring comes, we can get started on properly fixing up this place. So first things first, we need a new roof. I think the shingles on this place were supposed to be replaced like 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm really glad that they got us through another winter, but come this spring or summer, we'll be getting some new shingles. The next 2 items on the list kind of go hand in hand, and that is fix the foundation, which leaks, and add perimeter drains. So we found out shortly after moving in that this house didn't have perimeter drains. And that was because there was a little bit of a flood in the basement and we discovered a crack in the foundation that was letting water in. So that is a really big thing that we do need to fix. But hopefully once we get the crack in the foundation fixed and the perimeter drains in, we won't have to deal with that anymore. So number 4 on the list is fixing or replacing joists that have been cut or damaged. Right now everything's propped up, so we don't have to worry about anything falling down. But the sooner we can get that fixed, the sooner things will be stabled and we won't have to worry about that. And the last big item on the list is replacing windows and likely repairing or replacing some of the sills that are rotting out. Some of the windows have a couple more issues than others, mostly that they wobble in the sills. So we definitely need to replace some of them and repair some of the sills. But that's the big items. So now comes the not so big items, but they are still bigger projects. So the first one that I want to work on is bringing the stairs up to code or completely replacing them altogether. Ideally, I would love to replace them so I don't hit my head on the stairs every time I go down. But something that I've been looking at on Pinterest is just completely replacing it and adding a wall-to-wall staircase library. There are so many ideas that I've saved on Pinterest, and I'm so excited. If we could make that happen, that would be absolutely amazing. And of course, if that happens, then I want to try and add a rolling staircase ladder, but that's getting ahead of myself right now. So another project that is a bigger one is bathroom renos. So our upstairs bathroom is functional, but the downstairs bathroom, I have so many questions. It definitely needs some TLC. Let's just leave it at that. Number 3 on the list is updating the kitchen. So I don't think the kitchen has probably been touched in 40 years, and it definitely needs something. Ideally a dishwasher, but we'll see. And then last on the list would be updating the basement. So I want to make it warm and cozy and inviting. There's also a room down there that is potentially being turned into a bedroom, but as of right now, it's not insulated enough to be warm enough in the winter. So that's a big project. So that is just part of my zoomed out big project list. I have probably 1,000 other projects that I really want to work on. But these are the big ones on the list that are really top priority that just need to get done. So we do have a lot of really expensive items that we do need to fix before we can get started on the fun things. And those big items are to make sure the house stays standing, which is very, very important. According to our timeline, we are going to be waiting until the big melt happens, which is either in April or May. And then the plan is to start on the foundation. So once that is all sealed up and we make sure it doesn't leak anymore, then move on to the perimeter drains and put those in around the house. And then at that point, fix the roof. Now, depending on our budget, we are also planning on possibly adding a covered deck at the same time as we do the roof, as that just makes the most sense. With the amount of snow we get and the heat during the summer, a covered deck would be an amazing addition to the house. And it would also be a great place for me to be able to sit and watch the kids in the summer. So that is something that I'm really hoping for. But it does depend on our budget at that point. We will be hiring tradesmen or a contractor to help with some of the bigger items on our list, but the hope is to learn how to do a lot of these things ourselves. Also, the more we're able to do ourselves, the more we're able to kind of stretch the dollar in our budget. Also, any money that I do hopefully make from sharing a renovation adventure with you is likely going to be going back into the property for more projects. So that being said, please feel free to subscribe if this sounds like something you would enjoy. Also, any comments or likes or shares really helps to nudge the algorithm to suggest this channel to others who also might enjoy this type of content. So let's talk about the house. It is classified as a rancher with a basement, and it is currently a 3-bed, 2-bath. The style of the house is what I would call very generic. Now, decorating wise, I would say I'm leaning much more towards the French English cottage style. I also like a little bit of the craftsman style, and just for fun, add a splash of fantasy and a little bit of whimsy and color. I think some people also refer to it as like grand millennial, but I'm not sure if that's exactly the style I'm going for. Imagine Bramberley Hedge. If you're not familiar with the world of Bramberley Hedge, then I really recommend you find a copy of the book because 1, it is delightful, and 2, that book series is the level of cozy that I hope to one day achieve in my home. So I really want a home that is warm and inviting and cozy and has color and really just has a story of its own. But I also want a space that my littles and not so littles have a safe place where they can just be themselves and let their imaginations run wild. So not only do we plan on completely remaking the interior, we also plan on doing the exterior as well, which includes the gardens. So we live in a 3-4 planting zone, depending on which map you're looking at. And because of that, I need plants that are cold hardy. Our winters can get down to as low as -40. So any perennials that we do have here will need to be able to survive our winter temperatures, or we're going to have to somehow figure out how to protect them from the winter freezes. So I'm still doing a lot of research on that end. So if you have any information on helping plants survive Canadian winters, I would love to read more about it. Ideally, I would love a cottage style garden, something with roses and cut flowers and veggies and herbs and an orchard and a moon gate and some trellises and some chickens and some rabbits, just the whole works. So I'm really excited, and I'm really wanting spring to come. It is snowing outside right now and it is so cold, but I'm so excited for spring. Realistically, this is probably like a 5 to 10 year plan, not something that's going to happen anytime soon, but you know what? A girl can dream. To get things started, I do want to take on a couple smaller projects first, just to kind of ease into Renos. I know we still have a couple months of winter left, so hopefully I can get some smaller projects done that will just make it easier to get the house organized and finish unpacking boxes, because I've still got a lot of things in boxes, my sewing room included. So this is just kind of like an overview. I'm really excited to get started, if you can't tell. So if this sounds like your cup of tea and you want to subscribe, then I just want to say thank you for joining in on this adventure. Also, if you know of any other channels with like a similar vibe, please leave their name in the comments. I know I am always looking for more inspiration and other channels to follow. So if you guys know of anyone, just leave them down below. And another thing, I am also trying to decide what I want to name the series for this house. I was thinking making a house a home, or something along the lines of that. I've just been playing with it, but nothing's really stuck yet. So if you have a better name, also leave that down in the comments. I do have a project that I'm currently working on that I will hopefully finish soon. It has been taking a little bit longer than expected, but I guess that is the name of the game when it comes to renovations. So hopefully I can get that wrapped up and get it out to you. So that is it for today. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!